I'm Dave Chesson of Kindlepreneur.com. It's an advanced book marketing website. I'm sort of a numbers geek, and I really love to go in depth on anything marketing-wise that anybody can read the articles, turn around, and be able to implement for some type of results. One of the things I'm most proud of, though, is that I was able to create a free course on Reedsy, and we can go ahead and put the link somewhere in the comments here, where you can actually learn how to validate your book ideas. You can sign up for that. It's an email course. It takes about like 5 minutes a day, but it's going to be bite-sized information, and by the time that email course is through, you'll have a much stronger idea of how to get your book in front of more people. So one of the things I try to tell people when they look at Amazon is not only a great place to shop for books, it's a search engine, right? It's just like Google. People go into Amazon, they have an idea of what they want, they type it into the search bar, and then Amazon does their very best to put the right stuff in front of them. Because let's face it, if Amazon doesn't show them the right products, people are going to be like, Amazon's a waste of time, and they're going to go look somewhere else. So how Amazon shows products to shoppers is very important for us as book writers, because we're hoping that Amazon is going to say, hey, so-and-so's book is a great book to be able to put in front of these shoppers. And when they do that, they start selling the book for you. And so that helps a no-name author, a new author, or whatever, get their feet, and get in there and start making sales. But this is also, if you're some famous author, so this is also a great thing for you to get out there. I've worked with, a whole bunch of people ranging from New York Times bestsellers who still care about this, because while they have their marketing tactics, the ability to get it in front of more people is always something that any writer would care about. So just something to consider, whether you're new or you're a big-time professional, okay? So when we look at this, right, we need to ask ourselves a couple of things, okay? First and foremost is that if Amazon is a search engine and it sends shoppers, right, people ready to buy a book, to our products, how can we make sure that what we're creating is something that Amazon is going to put in front of all those people, okay? That comes into a couple of things that we need to think about, okay? We need to think about, for starters, what exactly are people typing into Amazon, okay? Number two, we need to look at, are books making money for that type of subject? Number three, we need to look at how much, or how much competition there is, because let's face it, you're not going to beat Guy Kawasaki on his subject, nor are you going to beat Harry Potter for Magical Wizard Kids School or something like that, right? So we need to look at these sorts of things when we're trying to figure out whether or not our book idea is going to be something that Amazon will put in front of people. Like we just said, right, there's a couple things that we need to think about. One, what are people typing into Amazon? Two, are books making money for that particular term? And three, is the competition too great for us to be able to enter into the market, okay? And these three things are what I like to use when I'm trying to figure out if I should write a particular book, or how should I angle a book so that it will reach more people. Okay, because if you answer those three things before you start writing a book, you've got a very good chance that Amazon is going to promote your book for you. They're going to show your book in front of people, and that's going to help you make sales and be discovered. Okay, now, before I get into how we do those three things, I just want to point out that just because you answer these three things, okay, and say your research comes back and is like, nope, nobody's searching for that, or nope, nobody's paying for that, or too much competition, whatever it be, understand that doesn't mean that you can't write the book that you're thinking of writing. Know that what it means is you can't depend on Amazon to sell the book for you, okay? So if that's the case, now your book marketing plan has to consist of going out, finding the target market wherever they are, grab them by the collar, and drag them to your Amazon sales page, okay? That's some higher level mastery marketing stuff that I would say 99% of us out there are not that capable of doing that, okay? Unless you've got some mad skills. Another thing too is like people who are very famous that have a large email list. Well, they've already got a collection of the market. They can just email and start getting them to come buy the book. That's for them. My point is though, is that if you do this process that I'm about to lay out and it looks like there's not a market, be prepared for what I just discussed. Okay, be prepared for all of those other things you're going to have to do if you want a successful book. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into those three things. Okay, the first one is making sure that you are targeting something that people are actually typing into Amazon. All right. A lot of people say, oh, these are the Kindle keywords. And yeah, generally this is the research that you would put in for your Kindle keywords. But the truth is, you want keywords that are things that people are typing in. If you're targeting something really cool sounding, but nobody's typing it in, it does nothing for you, okay? So how do we find out exactly what people are typing into Amazon? Well, the first thing is we can do the Amazon suggestions. So when you go into Amazon at the top in the search bar and you start typing in something, Amazon's going to try to fill in the rest. They're going to be like, wars. Got it. Yeah. You know, they're going to use their knowledge of what's happened in the past, what people have searched for in the past to try to fill in the rest of what you're writing. This will help you to find out better ideas. Say you start typing in how to or how to write a book. It might fill in the rest of that as in fast, or how to write a manuscript, or how to write a screenplay. And that immediately tells you that people have started to type that into Amazon. An advanced tip for all you guys out there, if you do that, I highly recommend using Google Chrome and then go into incognito mode. The reason why you want to do that is because when you're logged into your Amazon account, or when you've searched on Amazon before, Amazon drops these cookies and they actually follow what you're doing so they can learn more about your shopping habits. And that suggestions is actually tailored towards your shopping habit. So when you're in incognito mode, A, you're not logged into Amazon anymore, and B, there's no cookies. So when you get the data in incognito mode, it is pure data. It's from Amazon knows nothing about you, so they're going to give you whatever information they have from all data sources, okay? So best idea is that. Another thing that I like to do too when trying to search for ideas is I also go to Google and I look at Keyword Planner or some SEO tools to be able to figure out what people type into that search engine. Remember, we said that Google and Amazon, they're both search engines, right? They're trying to present things to people based off of what they typed in. This isn't always a great thing to go off of Google's, because what people type into Google is always very different from what people type into Amazon. But you'd be amazed how many times you might discover something that's brand new that would be a perfect book, okay? So that's an idea generator, all right? The next thing, so those are the ways that you can start to figure out what people are typing in. I'll tell you too, we created a software called Kdp Rocket that does that and then some. It works on both PC and Mac. You type in your book idea and it will just list out all the different keywords that are out there so that you can make better decisions, okay? But let's move on to the second point. The second point is whether or not books are making money. Let's face it, you may find this great keyword and people are typing it in, but nobody's buying the books, okay, there. The way that you can figure out if a book is making money is that you go and you click on that book and you scroll down the Amazon sales page and you look at the Amazon bestseller rank, okay? That number is a number that goes from 1 to 4.7 million, because 4.7 million is the total number of ebooks right now, or it was a couple months ago. And if you're the #1 best-selling book in all of Amazon, you are #1. But if you're the worst, then you're 4.7 million. Now, that number might not mean a lot to you guys out there. You may be saying, well, what's 100,000? What's 400,000? Is that good? And if that's the case, don't worry about it. We've got this free calculator on kindlepreneur.com where you can just put the Amazon bestseller rank right into it, and it will tell you exactly how many books per day they're selling. So now you know. So if they're selling 10 books and it's at $3, you know that that person's making on average about 30 bucks a day. Now that you know how to figure out how much money the other books are making, you can start to make a better decision of saying, hey, in this very niche subject, these books are making this much money per day. And then you ask yourself, is that what you're looking for? If the total is like $5, a month because they're not making any money, now you know that while people are searching for it, doesn't mean they're buying it. Now, before you cut that out completely, let me just say that another way for you to look at it is that, well, is there a reason why nobody's buying those books? Are their covers absolutely atrocious? Are their reviews atrocious? And that leads us into the third part, which is the competition. Is the competition too great for you to enter? It's not just the number of competitors or the number of books that are trying to show up for that term. It's about the quality. It's about, is the author super famous for this? Are the book covers, amazing or terrible? Are they truly targeting that phrase or keyword? These are all things that you can come in and consider. And I like to say that when you're looking at your potential competitors, you need to ask yourself, can I do better? If they're more famous than me, good luck trying to beat somebody who's got all of those other things we talked about, right? But if they're not, and their cover sucks, and that using like Reedsy, you can find an amazing cover artist, that you can beat that market and raise yourself up to the top. So now you have your in. So just to recap, the three things that you need to ask yourself is, are people typing it in? Okay. Are books making money? And enough money that it looks legit to me to write in there. And then finally, is the competition too great? Let me talk a little bit about rankings. So we talked about what you do before you write your book, okay? Ways to validate your idea and make sure that you can depend on Amazon to help make sales for you, all right? But now, once your book is ready and you've published it, hopefully you've done the steps I did, so you kind of know what your keywords are, and you'll want to input those before you publish it into your 7 Kindle keywords, right? But here's the thing, is sometimes when you just do that, Amazon doesn't index your book immediately. It doesn't show your book inside of their search engine. So if you type in, I don't know, say it's how to write fast, if you type that into Amazon, your book might not show up. It used to be that it would automatically do that if that was one of your 7 Kindle keywords, but sometimes it requires you to have a little bit more, like maybe the words are inside the book because they do index that, as well as maybe inside the subtitle or something of that magnitude, and that should get you there. So that's what you need to take to get your book to show up. And then at the end of this, I'm going to give you guys an amazing tip that you can take and implement immediately that will help to increase your rankings. But let's go ahead and jump on some of the questions that we have coming up. Okay, so what about metadata? That's the first one I saw, so let me jump on that. So metadata is the understanding of the information that an algorithm will use in order to make its decisions. Metadata could be those 7 Kindle keywords that we just talked about. It's also things that are in your description. And before anybody in the comments is like, no, it doesn't read descriptions, Amazon flat out says it reads descriptions. So yeah, it is a part of the metadata. And that, if you type in like Kindle keyword guidelines or something like that, you'll see that it says it right there. So what's in your book description, what is inside your book, and those 7 Kindle keywords, your title, that is all the metadata that the algorithm will use to figure out if you should show up for it. I hope that answered your question. Let me go ahead and jump to the next one I see. KDP allows 7 keyword sets. Do they concentrate, or does one need to repeat keywords and combos in each? The way that I kind of like to answer this is that if your keyword, if you're really targeting something, okay, like you really want to rank for something, go ahead and be straight to the point on it. Some people say, I believe it's like 50 characters inside each keyword or something like that. And so they'll be like, fast, quick, write book, really fast, and they'll put in the synonyms. Look, with 4.7 million books right now, or another way of saying that is 4.7 million competitors, sometimes Amazon doesn't index you for those targeted keywords because there's too much. But if you were straight to the point, how to write a book fast, well, Amazon clearly sees that's what you want to be there for, and so you have a much better chance of indexing for it. But let's also state that when you choose that, when you have that one particular direct phrase that you put inside as one of your Kindle keywords, that will increase your chances for you to actually show up for it. But If you didn't, you know, you can always go through and change up your keywords until you see something or a combination that works. So I'm going to end that with more of a, you know, concentrate on the particular phrase that you want. And if that for some reason isn't doing it, add different metadata or change it up and see what happens. Okay? Let's see, let's go to Roman. What about existing book? I wrote a book about Hollywood nonfiction. It's a competitive market, so I need to improve my rankings. It's kind of like Entourage meets The Devil Wears Prada, but it's all true. Actually, that actually sounds really cool. I love Entourage, and I'm not gonna lie, I did like Devil Wears Prada too. With that, you can always change your keywords, and I highly recommend it. If you didn't get traction, it's okay. Even Amazon says change them. And the funny thing is that what I normally see is when people will do their research, you know, they've learned a little bit more about keywords, they know how to do it a little bit better. They'll quickly change a couple and they'll see a spike. So I'm not saying that happens for everybody because the market is different. If you're in this really, really, really niche memoir, you know, area, and you know, you're gonna have a hard time finding that market. But hopefully you're not that person because you just listened to what we talked about and you're able to validate your book idea before you wrote it. So something to consider, but yes, it does work on books you've already written. So you can change those and experiment. Let's see, Bob, where does one find the app or website for the ranking sales info you have discussed? So the Amazon bestseller rank is a number that is inside of that particular book's sales page. So if you go to Amazon, you find a book, you click on it, you scroll down, it's right above where they list all the categories. It says Amazon bestseller rank, and it's that number. Don't choose the category rank, okay? Not number 1 out of 407 for blah, blah, blah. It's the Amazon bestseller rank at the top. And take that number and put it into that calculator, and now you know about how many books per day that person is selling, okay? And another thing too is that ABSR actually changes every 2 hours, so you might just want to watch it for a little bit, you know, over a couple of days to see how much money those books really are making. Maybe they just had a killer great day, you know, and they had 7 people buy it right then and there. It's going to look like they're having a lot of sales. So just watch that. Okay, Hannah. Hi, Dave. Hi, Hannah. Does the keyword search still apply for fiction? Yes, it does. As a matter of fact, if you type into Google keywords, Kindle keywords for fiction or something like that, fiction Kindle keywords, you'll find my article, #1 in Google, that talks all about fiction keyword strategy. It is super important. It's different though. Nonfiction and fiction are very different, but super useful because the fact is that no matter what, so long as people continue to use the search bar in Amazon, okay, keywords are important. Because when people are typing something into that search bar, what Amazon shows you is what we're talking about. It's just that the way that we approach it for fiction is a little different, and I assure you that that article right there will give you the full layout. I could probably talk for like 2 or 3 hours on that one, but the article will do it for me. Let's see. Katie, create space keywords equals more limited. Are they only used for POD books, or do they also affect book page Kindle versions getting... So here's the thing about that. It's kind of funny. I've been experimenting actually to try to figure out why sometimes Amazon will choose, like if you don't set your category for Kindle, okay, you just say all. Sometimes when you type in a keyword, it will show your print on demand, POD for those out there, your POD book instead of your Kindle book, like on the search results. I haven't been able to figure out why it chooses one over the other. My guess is that they found that one converts better, so they show that one over the other. So I don't think it's so much the keyword. I think that it's more or less about the conversion rate on what it chooses to show in the results when somebody types that keyword in. Be advised that once you've linked the two together, I think Amazon sees them as one unit, so it shares all that data. They don't treat them differently. They just show one over the other because one converts better. I hope that answers your question. I think I just skipped one. Hold on. Does changing keywords change your categories too? No. So but sometimes you need certain keywords to unlock certain categories. As a matter of fact, I've got an article, if you were just to Google secret Kindle categories, it explains this. But what happens is that when you go to publish your book at first, Amazon only offers, I think it's like 1,400 total categories when there's 4,700 categories out there, but they only let you select from those. And then later on, they'll figure out kind of how much further down you can go. But guess what, though? You can actually take a proactive stance, and you can email them. I've got all the instructions in that article. You can email them and say, hey, add me to this one. I want to be there, and they'll do it, which is really incredible. So once you found a niche, just email them and tell them it. But there is a list of certain categories that flat out say you have to use a certain keyword in order to unlock that one. And I've got that listed on the article as well. I highly recommend hitting those because only people who know what I just said can actually use that, which means that category, usually not much competition because nobody knows to do it. So kudos to all you guys listening out there. Now you know that secret Kindle category strategy. Okay, let's see. I know that. Where is your program that analyzes and shows the sales of that book? Hi, Bob. So two of them, like I said, we have a link in the comments here, which is the calculator, the free calculator on Kindlepreneur that will take the Amazon bestseller rank and then convert it to books sold per day. The other program that I have that goes even further and tells you on average how much things are making as well as the estimated searches per month for the keyword, that's kdprocket.com. So you can check those two out. I hope that answers your question. If not, hit me up again in the comments. Suzanne, any way to find out what keywords are being used by successful books in your genre? Sadly, Amazon will not tell us what keywords somebody used. Okay, so they won't tell us the 7 Kindle keywords. Believe me, I searched their source code and everything, and they won't tell us that. So it's a bummer. However, though, one thing that you may notice is that when you're looking at the title and subtitle of a book, you'll see them stuff some keywords. You'll know what they're really targeting. Sometimes they'll flat out state them. Like I've seen ones where they're like, say it's like Evernote, Evernote Notes, Evernote Fast, Evernote for you. It's like, okay, well, I know what his 7 keywords are. But again, that's something that you'll be able to quickly see. But just kind of take a look at it and see what you feel is their most important word. And they'll usually try to have a version of it in their title and then somewhere in their subtitle. Okay, let's see. Next one will be, how do you change your keywords for a book that's already published? Linda, great question. So what you can do is if you go back into KDP, your Kindle Direct Publishing account, and you go to Edit Book, you'll be able to change up the information that you had input when you first published your book. And of course, one of those is your 7 Kindle keywords. So you can erase one of them and put in a new one just like that. Let's see. How do you change your... Okay, no, that was you, Linda. I hope that answered your question, Linda. All right, let's see. The next one. Cool. Awesome, Susan. Do Kayuu pages not affect rank? They do, actually. But sadly, we have no ability to know how many Kayuu pages somebody's using. So what we do is we just assume that it is the sales of the book. With the way that Kayuu is working, that book must be a monster if it's truly, making that much money that would affect it. I think it's a very safe assumption to say that, okay, looking at the Amazon bestseller rank, we can see that this is the number of sales potential from that book. But yes, our calculator does not take into account Kayuu because we have no way to stratify the two. But great question. Who was that said the question? Well, great question to whoever you were. Let's see, Bob, there's that. Okay, you got the link there. Yes, thanks. Awesome, Linda. And Waddy, great, cool name, by the way. What if you published through someone else? How can you change the keywords then? Oh yeah, this is like the biggest headache in the world. When you have somebody that you publish through, they have access to the KDP account. You've got to convince them to go in there and change them. And if it's one of those publishers, it's funny because it's like 9 times out of 10, they're just like, whatever. And they kind of blow us off. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of self-publishing and having it under my account so that I can change those things. Hopefully they're decent enough people that they'll take the time to placate and to do as you say. And the other thing too to remind them is, look, I did the research. I've actually had somebody use Kdp Rocket, send the data to the publisher and say, look, I changed it to this. It's going to increase the number of people that will see it by this much. This is what we can expect. Kind of funny, like publishers need the numbers and the money to actually get up and do something about it. So that helped that person out. But you're just going to have to convince them to do it. Let's see here. Let me scroll back up. All right. Dave, please confirm if the title of my book includes the term travel tips. Am I prevented from using the term as one of my keywords? According to Amazon, the answer is yes, you are prevented from it. They state that you should not put words that are in your title, not subtitle though, but title, into one of your 7 Kindle keywords. Some of the rules, by the way, with keywords are you can't have words like free, you can't have book, you can't have anything that's misleading, so you can't use somebody else's name or somebody else's title. You also can't have like purposeful misspellings, okay? They make like an exception for like if say you type in Mao Zedong's name, the dictator from China, like in the 70s. 60s. But you could type, like they say his is okay because you can type his name MAO and then ZEDONG, or you could do it the traditional way of MAO TSEDUNG or something like that. And they literally say that's okay. But to purposely misspell something so you get in front of a different demographic, us illiterate people, they say don't do that. So there are some rules that are out there for keywords. But when I say that according to Amazon, no, I'm not going to lie to you. Amazon's really bad at checking those things. So that's up to you. They have rules. I try to abide by them because I like to play nice in the neighborhood that I live in. But just understand that Amazon's very slow to those things. So something to consider, okay? But great question, Brian. Any advice on price per click? What range is best and how many product pages should an author target, 10 or 100? Price per click. Paula, I want you to go ahead and put in the comments if you're talking about Amazon Marketing Services, AMS, because that's a completely different set of keywords, different strategy, and I'd be more than happy to hit that up too. Just hit me offline or something like that. Just message me, and I'll give you a full detail on AMS. If not, and I misread your question, go ahead and rewrite out in the bottom. I'll hit that. Okay, no problem, Keem. Do you know any specifics about the children picture book market on Amazon and how best to stand out amongst and compete with bestsellers? Also, any tips on how to be discovered and selected to be included in Amazon's featured book list? I can't speak out of the featured book list. I've never really had much experience on their featured list, so I won't lie to you, I don't know that answer. But I will try to look into it more because I like to grow and learn as well. Example, Amazon Editor's Best of the Month picks for kids. The only thing that I've heard about that from another author was that it's sort of a luck of the draw, or you know somebody. But I don't have any concrete tactic for you to be able to increase your chances, so I apologize on that. But let's go back to the first question. Any specifics about children's picture book market? When it comes to keywords, you need to place yourself in the shoes of the person who would buy these. Now, let's face it, depending on the age that you're at, whether it's young adult, okay, the teens do buy the books. But when it's something younger, it's the parents. So what exactly do the parents type into Amazon when they're searching for the next book? A great example of this is when you do the keyword research like you're using Kdp Rocket, you'll find that ninja books for kids is a great keyword. And let's face it, the mothers or fathers out there are like, man, my kid loves that Ninjago Lego stuff. I wonder if there's a good ninja book, for kids. And that's the way they think when they type into the search engine, and that's how they may discover. So you can check that out and see the stats on it, and know whether or not that's still a good one, or if maybe I've said it out loud too many times and it's saturated. We'll see. Okay, let's move on to Petrified Forest. If that's your name, that's awesome. Use keywords in the book blurb. Yes. We talked about this a little bit before, but there are a lot of people that say that Amazon does not index your book blurb, your book description. That's not true because Amazon flat out tells us that they do. If you go to the keyword guidelines on Amazon.com, just type in like Kindle keyword guidelines or something like that, you'll see that when they talk about the metadata, they literally list your keywords and your description. So they read it. How much impact the words in your description has on your rankings, I think it's minimal, but it is a part of the factors of the calculation, okay? Let's see, do free Kindle downloads affect your rank differently than paid downloads on your book? The answer to that is yes, it does. See, when you make it free, you're in a different rank system, okay? So in the ABSR, Amazon Bestseller rank, there's the Amazon Bestseller rank free, Amazon Bestseller rank. So when you do switch it, say you're on Kindle Select and you switch it to free, they'll immediately place you in that different ranking. Whereas when you come back to being paid, you're put in another one. But what people will do though is that while it's free, they'll build up all this momentum. And then when they shift over from free to paid, some of that momentum is still coming through and they'll actually have a really higher rank. And they can use that momentum to swing back up and hit a bestseller mark for their category that they've selected. So great question. Okay, Paula Kappa, AMS. Let me hit AMS for a little bit and then we can go ahead and jump on some more of the questions here. AMS keywords are super important because the words that you are targeting in your AMS campaign is what gets your book in front of more customers, right? I tell people when you're creating an AMS campaign, you need to start with at least 200 keywords. Otherwise, you're not going to get enough impressions to make that much of a difference. The best keywords for AMS are titles of other books and titles of authors on that write within your genre or your topic. The cool part is that with the regular keywords that we were just talking about, they say you can't do that. But in AMS, you definitely should do that. So that's one of the biggest differences between the two. This allows you to get your book in front or next to Harry Potter when somebody types in Wizard School, right? This gets you the ability that if you have a direct competitor, you can have your book right there, you know, when they're on their sales page to be able to see it and click. But you need to know these things and you need to make those your keywords. But yeah, I could probably spend a good 4 or 5 hours covering AMS. So I hope that answered your question. Zara, I'm glad that you enjoyed this. Patrick, buddy, how do we get our books listed in short reads such as 12 to 21 pages or 30 minutes reads? My understanding on that is just having it be, I think it's, yeah, just having the Kindle pages be 21 to 12 pages long. My rule of thumb is 330 words equates to 1 Kindle page. So write that much and you should be automatically placed into it. My understanding is it takes like a day or two before they register it, but I haven't actually had personal experience doing it, so I can't say out of that. But if anybody knows that answer for sure because they have experience, go ahead and put it in here. Let's help each other out. Okay, let me. Angelo, a lot of this has been over my head, but I've made lots of notes. Awesome. I'm sorry. Hit me up on any more questions that you have. I'd be more than happy to help. Hopefully with more time, I can look into it all a bit more. Will this recording be available to us after the live session? I don't think so, but like I said, kindlepreneur.com is a great resource to be able to use for advanced book marketing. I've got a free PDF there that you can sign up for that gives you a full layout, edited, so it should be more coherent than what you've heard here. So maybe that will help. Angelo, good luck with that. Myra, is pre-order feature worth it in KDP? Yes and no. It depends on your book marketing strategy. When I was working with, a New York Times bestseller, Ted Decker, I mean, yeah, that guy should be doing pre-orders, of course. But a new author who doesn't have a following and is trying to be discovered, I would say just skip that step and focus on the publish and the marketing right after that. So it really depends on your strengths, your background, your momentum, and kind of your popularity. I hope that helps. Thanks for the knowledge. Makes sense. Awesome, Horace. What is a respectable Amazon rank? How many books per day does that translate to? Well, really, it comes down to how much money you're looking to make. I personally wouldn't sit down and go after any book that has an ABSR, higher than 100,000. Usually, I like to see it at 60,000 or less, 30,000 even better. So again, that comes down to how much you're looking to make, what's worth it to you, and also the scope of work for that book. Okay, where is the download for the sales report based on Amazon rankings? I can't find it. The download for the sales reports based on Amazon rankings. Hey Bob, I think you're talking about the Kindle Calculator. So all it is putting in the number for the Amazon bestseller rank, hitting calculate, and then it just tells you the number of books per day that person's selling. You can then take that number and multiply it by the price of that book, and now you know how much that book is actually making on that particular day. Could Book Rocket help figure out keywords for AMS? Most definitely. As a matter of fact, right now it helps you with finding the keywords that are popular in Amazon, but right now we're adding an AMS keyword feature it's like specific to AMS. And so you'll click on it and it will immediately pull, you'll type in your book idea. It'll find all of the competing books. It will immediately take the name of those books and the author name. It will go into those books. It will find books also bought by, and it will list those books and the authors. And then it will go into each individual category that book ranks for and pull the top 20 as well. So with a click of a button, you should end up with your 200 keywords. And then you put it into AMS. You can click and export to a CSV file and then upload right into AMS. So what would normally take me about an hour or 2 hours to do by copy and pasting all those, I can now do within 2 minutes. So I'm wicked excited about that because I'm an AMS lover. And and that should be coming out in about maybe 2 weeks. And it will be a free upgrade to all the Kdp Rocket users out there. So that should be coming out. Also too, by the way, I'll just let it be public right here. We're creating a 100% free AMS keywords course, or excuse me, AMS campaigns course that will be able to teach anybody everything from A to Z on AMS. So you can check that out hopefully in 2 weeks. Can you explain what Kemp read is? I see selling, but the graph on Kemp varies. Does it affect rank as well? Kemp does affect rank, but a little bit. And also Kemp is the number of pages that people are reading from your free download, from your Kayuu downloads. So maybe people are downloading your Kayuu, but they're not reading it. That won't affect as much as people are crushing through your book because it's awesome and they're loving it. Also, short reads, are author notes, acknowledgments, etc. counted in page count? They are, yes. The formatting, there is page breaks play into it. So if you have a page break, that is counted as a page. I've seen people where they've sort of gamed the system a little bit, and to make the book look bigger, what they would do is maybe they had some questions, and so they would have a picture taking up one whole page, and then a page break, and then another picture on each page, and so it looked like it was a 200-page book, but really it was 30 pages of writing and a lot of pictures, making it look like it was a big book. So that's kind of the way that they run with that. Is it available, the recording? Okay, find that out. Yes, my short stories went into the short reads automatically. Awesome, Lynn. Thank you for providing that. Where's the PDF you just mentioned? You speed over the site name, and I haven't been able to. I'm sorry. So it's Kindlepreneur, like Kindle Entrepreneur, kindlepreneur.com. We've got a couple of links to that, but if you just in the right sidebar or so, you'll see sign up for my free PDF. You can just put your email in there and it will be sent over to you. Stack Gold. Are sales of a 99 book weighted less than sales of a book priced at $4.99 in terms of rankings, or do they all count the same? Amazon doesn't this is an amazing question, by the way, and it's something that over a bottle of scotch or so, I would love to have an argument with somebody on it. So the way that I see it, is that Amazon would be stupid if they didn't do that, right? Because it should be about their profitability, okay? So maybe 5 people a day buy this 99-cent book and 4 people a day buy the $5 book. Which book is making Amazon more money, right? The 4 people at $5 or the 5 people at $1? The answer is the 4 at $5. So you would think that their algorithm would want to put that one at the top because it seems to bring in the most money. And remember, the one at the top gets the most clicks. That's statistically proven. So they would probably want to raise it to the top so that they get even more money. But the fact is that you still see free books ranking #1 for certain terms. So I don't have a great answer for you. I think that I think free books shouldn't be able to rank #1, but that's just not the case. So the answer is yes and no. Okay. Kindle Calculator. Where is the Kindle Calculator? Sorry to be so dense. So Bob, no worries. If you look at Jake's comment, it says, Bob, there's the link. Click on that and you will see it right there. Just go ahead and type it. We even designed it to look like a little Kindle, and you put it right in there. You'll be good to go. Katie, that's so awesome, Katie. Glad you're loving that. What assumptions does the calculator make about books sold per day? The assumptions are based off of the Amazon bestseller rank, which is directly proportional to the number of sales, the number of books sold, okay, compared to all other books on Amazon. So the #1 best-selling book in all of Amazon gets #1. It could have been like on this particular day it was 20,000 books, and tomorrow it's only 6,000 books. That's #1. However, though, we've used a lot of data to be able to create our logarithmic calculation that has been tested. Like if you look at authorearnings.com, they track all that numbers. I've had people that I'm like, all right, fine, I'll see what, if this works, and they'll put it in there and it comes really close. So it's not perfect because, like we talked about earlier, it doesn't take into account Kayuu because we can't stratify the two, but it is a super good indication of how well certain books are doing. And to my podcaster friends out there, when you go to interview somebody and they're like, yeah, I'm a big time, money making book writer, and you can go ahead and put their ABSRs into that calculator and see if it's true. So that's ace. Sign up. Cool. Awesome. Let's see. Let's go ahead and tackle a couple more questions, and then I believe that we'll be ready to end this. Let's see. Just liked your Facebook page. Awesome, Brent. Very cool. What are your thoughts on the best social media platforms to promote our work? The answer to that one is the one that you like the best, because the best social media is the one that truly personifies you. And the only way to do that is be the one that you enjoy the most. I've tried, I was like Instagram and Pinterest because they seem to be great. And I was just like, I don't get this. And so I can't be me on that if I can't understand it or if I can't get the feeling for it. But I do love Facebook because I've always kept in touch with my family. When I was deployed in the military, I was able to connect. And so I've always had an understanding of what's right in Facebook and what's wrong. I like Twitter because it allows me to be personal. I can find people that are talking about particular subjects and reach out to them personally and talk. But otherwise, just shouting in Twitter doesn't work. So to answer that question best, it's the one that you feel most comfortable with, the one that you enjoy, and that will help to build the community, and the following that you need, so as to have better marketing on your book. When you research a book to write, what ABSR do you look for in a particular niche? Well, that's a great question, because if it is super niche, okay, like as in there aren't many books that show up for it, but I see like an Amazon bestseller rank of 100,000 or less, then that means like, sweet, there's like no competition and there's money to be made. I would much rather go for a very niche term that has consistent sales and no competitors than one that has a lot of churn, a lot of new books coming into it. So there's a fine balance between those. But to look at a little bit more competitive, I'd say to see that they're at 30,000 or better. Let's see. No idea where I'm supposed to click. I must be on a different page than you think I am. So Bob, that's on that page that you clicked, it looks like a big old Kindle, or iPad, and you just, inside the box, you put the number in, and there's a button that says calculate, and it will pop out the number for you. Thank you very much. great presentation, Q&A. Awesome, Brian. I'm super glad. I really would hate to have anybody feel like they wasted their time. I enjoy this, and I love helping out, so hit me up at any time. And I'm going to go ahead and take 2 more questions, and then we're going to call it. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Okay, so Mira, reviews and ratings linked? Yes. Can you talk more about the book review targeter? So, okay, so reviews and ratings. Reviews and your ratings help with your rankings, but it's not the number of reviews or the grade. It's the number of recent reviews and grades, okay? So if a book has 300 reviews, but nobody's left one in like 5 months, then to me that's like 0 reviews, okay, in terms of the algorithm's brain. But if somebody else has like 5 new reviews, you know, that's going to be a little more competitive. So that's something to remember. It's not the number, it's the recent. So Amazon understands that sometimes you can change a book, you can improve it. So the weighted value is more on the new ones. This is amazing information. Let's see. Thanks for all. Okay. And okay, last question. Does ABSR only make a snapshot of current daily earnings, or does it capture a long period of time? So this is going to get a little science nerdy. I used to be a nuclear engineer, so I'm like, yeah, when I get to talk about this. But let me try to make this. So the way that I'm going to draw it on the screen here. The way that the ABSR is that it's the most recent data point. So if a lot of books were just bought, that has the greatest effect on ABSR. But ABSR calculation has a downward slope from history. So how a book performed yesterday or a couple hours ago and everything affects the ABSR. A book that has consistently had a lot of good sales will, and then all of a sudden doesn't, will decrease its ABSR less than a book that had a spike, okay? So it's all about rate of change, rate of sales, continuity of sales, and it takes in a time value of history. I probably just totally lost a lot of people. It's really hard to draw on the screen, but yes, it does take into account previous sales, just not as much. So something to consider in that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. It was my first time on Facebook Live, and it's been wonderful being able to talk to you guys. Amazing questions. And again, like I said, go ahead and check out Reedsy's email courses. I love the fact that they've done that for free. You can go ahead and start to dig into any particular aspect of book marketing and self-publishing. And like I said, they deliver it in email form from people like myself, where you can learn more and grow. And then if you decide that any particular thing is of major value, then dig into that, learn more, apply it, gain experience, and you'll find better results. Thank you guys so much. You have a wonderful day. And like I said, you can check me out at kindlepreneur.com.